Is Ghost Games too ambitious? You be the judge, the jury, and the executioner. Whoa, don't do that. That's rude. Hello, all you wonderful, beautiful, and craptastic people. Craptastic Jack here, and today I want to ask the question. I originally recorded a video talking about the off-road physics in Need for Speed Payback, but however, I kind of wanted to transition. I just got rid of that video because I just went off on a huge tangent, and that tangent pretty much led into what I'm going to be talking about today. The main question, like playing through Need for Speed Payback, I love the game. It's a great game. But there's a lot of things in it that really, like, they just don't sit well with me. And this is the main topic of the video I just recorded, which I scrapped, was the off-roading. The off-roading in Need for Speed Payback is, it's just god-awful. I do not like it one bit. And I feel like, and that led into my further discussion of, is Ghost Games too ambitious? Because with Payback, you could see that they're trying all these new things. And it took the development, and the game's just in a weird place. Like the off-roading, like they added a bunch of things that aren't proven to work before they added all the things in that were proven to work. They put in a lot of stuff that wasn't necessary to make a great Need for Speed game, but then they lacked on the things that were necessary to make a great Need for Speed game. Like, for example, they focused a lot. You can tell they focused a lot on the off-roading. But then when it came to stuff like cops and actual, like, inner-city street racing, it's just lacking. Like, there's, like, 5 races in the city area, and most of them go outside the city. They just leave the city for a bit and come back. Like, there are not enough races where you're actually racing in the city, and that's a problem for a Need for Speed game. When there isn't enough racing in a Need for Speed game, like street racing, that's a bit of a problem. I mean, Need for Speed's never been about off-road racing. The last time Need for Speed was focused on off-roading was Need for Speed V-Rally 2 back in 1999. And that wasn't even a full-fledged Need for Speed game, to be honest with you. But what I'm trying to say is, I feel like Ghost Games is way too ambitious. Like, compared, like, with 2015, they had a goal in mind. They knew what people wanted. They wanted an illegal atmospheric street racing, basically Underground 3. And we got Underground 3 in a later, like, period. It wasn't completely Underground 3, because it wasn't titled. It was just called Need for Speed. So they had more liberties to do, like, cops and everything, because the Undergrounds didn't have cops, and people would bitch if it was called Underground and it had cops. But I'll digress. But also take Hot Pursuit for an example. The people at Criterion knew what made a Hot Pursuit game great, and they focused on the basics that made a Hot Pursuit game great. They worked on all the stuff that made the Hot Pursuit game great, and then they went in and added new things to spice it up, to make it different from the other Hot Pursuit games, like the weapons and stuff. They probably added that a bit later in the development cycle. But with Payback, I feel like they were way all over the place when it came to the development. Like, they focused a lot on off-roading, and the heists and stuff. Like, they're cool and all, but you really should have gotten down, like, the racing aspect, like the street racing aspect, before going on to the off-roading. The off-roading should have been scaled down, like, a lot. Like, there's too much of it. That's what I'm trying to say. And the physics with the off-roading are just god-awful. They're 2015's physics, but worse. You fishtail way too often for no reason, and you're just not in control half the time. And that's a feeling you shouldn't have with a racing game. That's a feeling I had with 2015's physics. And every time I go off-roading, I just get flashbacks to Need for Speed Paybacks. Need for Speed 2015's physics model. And the physics for, like, the real street racing, they're great. But this game just, I really don't know. Like, the police, they lack so much on the police. The police don't the police. This is what my friend Cam said, straight up Hippo. We were talking about this a lot. He basically said the police are like a collectible. They're not a feature. It's a collectible. And I agree with that, because you only get cops when you do bait crates, or they come after you during events. And they don't come after you during street races, except for the second last event in the Outlaws Rush. That's the only time they come after you during the race. So that aside with, like, all the atmosphere, the game just doesn't feel illegal, really. Like, the races all feel like kind of like Pro Street, in that sort of sense. Like, I never have cops coming after me during the races, even though they're not. They could be scripted and come after me. Even then, it would still feel more illegal. But the cops never come after you during street races, and they never come after you in the free roam, and that just, like, that hurts the game so much. Like, a lot of people, like, want to say, like, oh, calm down, it's just the cops. But cops are a really big feature. They're a really big part of Need for Speed. And not, and having them lackluster, restricted to the point that they are in Payback is just a no-no. When you have the off-road, like, have a big dominant part of the game, but the cops and like the racing is just like kind of pushed to the back, that's not a good thing. And I feel like Ghost, they have all these bunch of new ideas, and I respect them, and I applaud them for wanting to do all these new things, but they really need to focus. Like, they're way too ambitious. They don't have the basics down of what they need to make a great Need for Speed game, and that's the main issue. But then again, what do you need to make a great Need for Speed game? Because Need for Speed, that is legit just a title. Need for Speed has gone from exotic like high-speed police chases with like Hot Pursuit in the original Need for Speed games to underground illegal street racing and like Underground 2015, Most Wanted, etc. So what is Need for Speed? Like, that's the question that Ghost needs to ask. What is Need for Speed to them? Because Need for Speed the Black Box was illegal street racing. Need for Speed to like the original developers, EA Canada and EA Seattle, was hyper exotic police chases, like Criterion. That was their DNA of what a Need for Speed game was. What is Need for Speed to Ghost Games? I really don't think they know, and they're trying all these different things to see what sticks, but they really need to sit down and just focus on one thing. I have a feel, for me, Ghost should really focus on more of the illegal aspect, like Underground, like Need for Speed 2015, sorry. Just improve it. Like, you can keep the day-night cycle, you can keep all that, you can keep the story. Like, a lot of people don't like the story, but it's a story you could just turn off to. I really don't mind it. I don't think it's too big of an issue. I feel like they should focus a bit less on the story and more on the cars, the racing, etc. before they work on the story, before they worry about off-roading. That is something they need to get down. I mean, people have been saying it, Japan is a really good place. Like, Japan fits the criteria for like illegal street racing. I'm not personally a big fan of Japan. Hey, that rhymes. But I'm not personally too big of a fan of Japan when it comes to like location, but I know it would be a great step for the series. Like, Japan's not my, like, I'd rather have it in America. I'm just gonna flat out say it. There are like a ton of different cities I like to see it in America before we go to Japan, but I know for a fact if it was in Japan, it could really help the series out. So if Need for Speed goes to Japan, I feel like that would be the best step for Ghost Games to go to right now. But I digress. Is Ghost Games too ambitious? What do you think? Be sure to leave your what's it called? Your suggestions, your responses, your opinions in the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe for more Need for Speed Payback news, content, dick sucking. Oh, what? I don't do that. And yeah, some more Need for Speed good shit. And that's gonna be all for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys in my next video. Have a good one, guys.